I did my director's presentation on Andrei Tarkovsky. Born in 1932, Andrei Tarkovsky was a Russian filmmaker who is still considered one of the greatest influences in Russian film today. As a student, Tarkovsky was rebellious, but was barely able to graduate. He tried to finish learning Arabic at the Oriental Institute in Moscow, but dropped out to work as a prospector for the Academy of Science Institute for non-ferrous metals and gold. This work led him to spend a considerable amount of time near Turukhansk. The natural environment of the boreal forest influenced his decision to study film at Gerasimov Institute of Cinematography. Under the Soviet Union, he directed 5 films: Ivan's Childhood, Andrei Rublev, Solaris, Mirror, and Stalker. Years of constant censorship and conflicts with state authorities over his films led him to leave the country in 1979. While working abroad, the Soviet Union denied him permission to continue his work abroad in 1983, and thus he never returned home and was exiled. Some of his notable awards include a Golden Lion for Ivan's Childhood, a 4-time Fipresky Prize, and numerous others. In addition, he was officially recognized in the Soviet Union prior to his death in 1986, and many expressed the regret that his last 4 years of life had been spent in exile. After his death, Tarkovsky even received the Lenin Prize in 1990, and the Andrei Tarkovsky Memorial Prize was introduced in 1998. He died near the end of 1986 from lung cancer, but there is conspiracy that he was actually targeted by the KGB for promoting anti-Soviet propaganda in his films. Former KGB agents attested to having received orders to eradicate him. One of Tarkovsky's doctors even made the claim that his cancer did not have a natural cause. However, his wife Larissa and actor Anatoly Solitsyn also died from the same disease, which one of his sound designers, Vadim, attributed to the chemical plant near which they shot the film Stalker. Tarkovsky's influences came from the 1950s era known as the Khrushchev thaw. In the Soviet Union, this era was when society became more open-minded to foreign media and repression and censorship became slightly more relaxed. With this, Tarkovsky was able to see Japanese, European, and even American films he could draw inspiration from the future. When asked what his top favorite films were, none were from the Soviet Union. He did not find commercial cinema interesting whatsoever, but was very fond of the Terminator. His films had spiritual and theoretical themes and are noted for their slow pacing and long takes, dreamlike visuals, and emphasis on nature and memory. His style can be described as quiet and atmospheric, and he is well known for his use of long takes to immerse his audience. Rather than employing dialogue to emphasize feelings, he isolates and enhances specific sounds to place the viewer in the perspective of the character, such as heartbeats, footsteps, or others. His techniques were meant to give a unique interpretation of his film to each viewer, and thus he rarely used standard symbolism because he thought his films should not be logical. He also heavily emphasized the idea of show, don't tell, but instead referred to his version of this technique as sculpting with time. One of his most prominent techniques included juxtaposing someone next to a boundless environment. This was meant to relate an individual to the whole world, which is what he believed was the purpose of cinema. Here is an example from the train scene in Stalker, where Tarkovsky uses his long takes to develop suspense and tension.
Они нас не догонят.
Да что вы? Они ее боятся, как огня.
Кого?
Ну вот, мы и дома.
Here's another example from the movie Solaris, where Tarkovsky utilizes levitation and other elements as well.
Харри.
Прости, милый, я немного задумалась. Что-нибудь случилось?
Нет-нет. Ничего. Все в порядке.
In Solaris, Tarkovsky has several scenes that incorporate levitation. Additionally, specific objects such as bells and candles frequently appear in the film, alongside water and reflections. These most likely symbolize elements of sight and sound, adding to the self-reflective aspects of Tarkovsky's films. Overall, Tarkovsky stands out amongst his fellow Soviet directors for his long, drawn-out takes, his themes of self-reflection and abstraction, and the presence of nature and its elements across numerous films that are considered to be timeless.